What is up, guys? Today we're going to be looking at the LG V50 here in mid 2021 here. So I get a lot of questions, so I just want to go ahead and answer them. So first off, is the V50, I keep getting them mixed up, is the V50 worth it at this price point? So if we look at the V50's current price right now, you can see it's trending at around $275 for the Verizon version, and then we have $294 for the unlocked version, which I highly recommend you just go with the unlocked version. And then you have this trash Sprint version, which the one I have that gets no updates, and they have the nerve to mark it up to $400. It's actually insane. And if you look at the V60 though, so this is the actual discussion here. So the V60 is $100 more, and then you have the renewed version for $329. So it really depends on what you're looking for, and there's not a, the V60 pretty much has the advantage over the V50 in terms of specs and everything, except for one thing which we will get into. But as far as like the price, I do think the V50 is fine for the price point, but like I said, if it was me, if I had the extra money, I would definitely go with the V60, because with this standard V50, you do not get the dual screen case capability that is with the V50S, which is hard to find in the USA. But the V60 is ready to go out of the box dual screen case. You can just buy your dual screen case and have it good to go. Now, the V50 does have a 1440p display, which the V60 does not. So I'll probably do a comparison since I get asked about this so much. But the 1440p display does look much sharper than the V60's 1080p display, especially if you watch like videos that are very detailed, like nature videos, then you'll sort of notice it. But everyday use, you won't really notice it unless you look really close up, because it's a 6.4-inch display. Like I said, it's a 2K display, 564 for the PPI, so it's just really sharp, really nice and vibrant, beautiful display. You do have a much bigger notch as well on the V50 compared to the V60, but overall I do really like the panel on this V50. 1440p is just an awesome experience to look at. So that is one thing to consider as well. As far as the design, I think this phone has aged really well design wise. I think it still looks really cool. It's got a completely flat camera design. It does slip and slide and stuff like that, so do note that. I'd probably get a case for this phone. But yeah, you got your fingerprint scanner on the back. It's physical, it works fine. This also retains face unlock as well, which is really nice. The V60 does not. Your power button, volume rockers, and then your Google Assistant button here, and all of your little flagship stuff, your bells and whistles. 3.5mm headphone jack with the quad DAC, USB-C, stereo speakers, which to me, that is one of the biggest step ups from the V50 to the V60. The speaker quality on the V60 is absolutely nuts. Now, I wasn't the speaker quality on the V50 is fine, but I just wasn't a fan of them putting this micro mini speaker right here. Like, it's very small, but it still sounds good. It just doesn't get as loud as the V60. So like I said, it sounds good, especially when you're playing games, watching videos. It's a very good sounding speaker, but that is definitely a big upgrade if you do decide to go with the V60 there. Performance wise, the V50 is still very fast. Here are your Geekbench scores here, and we're running a Snapdragon 855 on top of Android 10, Adreno 640, micro SD support, 128 gigs of internal storage, and 6 gigs of RAM on here. So the phone has been pretty smooth for me. It still works just as fast as the V60. So everything just bouncing in and out of applications and stuff like that. Scrolling, you're not gonna see like a ton of lag and glitching and just slowness with this phone. It is actually keeps up with pretty much flagships as far as like opening applications. Even gaming on this phone is still relatively smooth. If you look at my gaming test, PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty, you can run all of those at high settings And this phone does a great job with that, especially with a beautiful display on here. So definitely, if you're thinking about getting the V50, performance-wise, it's still pretty much a beast. It still performs like a flagship. For those of you who always ask, here are your toggles right here. And, you know, it's just your basic toggles. There's nothing really... your DTS surround sound, your hi-fi quad DAC, screen recording, screen sharing, file sharing. Click on and those are the rest. So, you know, just a basic toggles. Android on here is very the skin on here is very minimal, so it's not like it's like doing a ton of stuff. Your Google Now page, and then if you go into our settings page, you'll see, you know, it's just a basic setup. So it's very clean, you know, UI setup or skin setup. Also, the V50 is IP68 dust and water resistant, and it does have NFC as well. So you can get this phone wet, you can do your mobile payments just fine here. So I do want to touch on the cameras. Basically, the V50's cameras are still really good, and I might do a camera comparison with the V40, V50, and V60, so you can just see how close they are. I do think the V60 does come out on top overall, but you'll see how close they are in image quality. And the V50 still has a very good camera setup. It's a triple camera setup, a 12 megapixel standard, and then a 12 megapixel telephoto with a 16 megapixel ultra wide. You get 4K video, and then you get an 8 megapixel selfie with a 5 megapixel wide lens. So if you're with friends and you want to take a group shot, you have that wide lens to sort of get everybody in the photo, and that shoots in 1080p. As you can see from the pictures, everything looks extremely solid on here. Color accuracy is really good. Detail is really solid on here. The video quality is really good. Dynamic range is great. Colors, I usually don't have problems with overexposure. I mean, it's a great camera still. I think at this price point, it takes just as good as your new mid-rangers, if not better in some areas. So, you know, let me know what you guys think of the photo quality on the V50 here. Now, there's no actual high refresh rate on the V50, so battery life is still pretty solid on here. You actually get very good battery life, even with, you know, just the 4,000 milliamp battery on here, 18-watt charging, and then you have your wireless charging as well. I found out the battery life was really good. Usually I get around 7 to 8 hours of screen on time with this phone, which I think is very good. So as far as battery life, this is not a phone that I feel like I'm struggling to get a full day's use out of, basically. So if you're somebody that is worried about that, then, you know, I wouldn't worry too much. Now, does the V60 kill the V50 in terms of battery life? For those who are asking, yes, the V60 is like a monster when it comes to battery life. So that is also a big upgrade. And I'll do that comparison because I am getting a ton of questions. So I'll just go ahead and do it for you guys. But yeah, so overall, should you get the V50 still? I would say yes, if you can find it for a good price and you just want this phone because you want the 1440p display. If you don't care about the 1440p display, I would say no. Save your money and get a V60. I think you'll be much happier. Now, with the V60, you have to remember, it's a much bigger phone. This is 6.4 inches. The V60 is 6.8. It's a big phone, almost tablet-like. So remember that when you're choosing between the two of those. So hopefully this is helpful. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.